Hi, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about my journey to sustainable health and meaningful success. If you're coming back and you've already subscribed, welcome back. Y'all are my people and I love you so much. If you're new, I hope you consider subscribing by the end of this video. And if you've just recently subscribed, welcome to the squad. We're glad to have you. Today, I am going to launch into my second part of the response to this person's message. They wanted to remain anonymous, but I will put the message that they sent in a pinned comment down below. I responded already to their concern about loss of community once they quit their multi-level marketing company. And so now we're going to go into the giving up on their dreams. Like, is this really like the only way to actually succeed? And I'm going to just address that in this video. If you want to learn more about my multi-level marketing story, I have a whole playlist and I encourage you to check that out because right now we are kind of leading into a more how to recover from leaving a highly controlling, highly manipulative multi-level marketing company. So basically, instead of reading through the entire message again, it's in a comment below, so you could just check out the message. But the bullet points that I want to address in this video is, number one, they were worried that their good intentions for, having their own business don't outweigh the damage that's done by Amway and LTD as a whole, that their life will fall apart if they quit, that their dreams won't come true without Amway, and that going back to school or starting a real business, despite upline counsel, would cause problems. So, number one, to address the idea of their good intentions not outweighing the damage that Amway and LTD as organizations do as a whole to the people. I've done a lot of videos about how it's a very cult-like environment. It's highly controlling. There's a lot of broken friendships and a lot of broken relationships or marriages, and it's just a really toxic environment as a whole. So I don't want to really spend a lot of time on this video talking about the toxicity of Amway and LTD, or Worldwide Dream Builders, Brit Worldwide, any of those other subgroups of Amway, or just multi-level marketing as a whole. But if we can agree on the premise that there's toxicity in the general company environments and cultures, then we can kind of go into, well, what if I have good intentions for my business? I want to help people and I don't want to take advantage of people. Is it still wrong for me to use multi-level marketing as a vehicle to accomplish that goal? And to that, without knowing the person who messaged me, so I'm not trying to make a personal judgment on your character or anything like that, but I would really press the intentions of building a multi-level marketing company. Between the dynamic of Amway and LTD, you have Amway who provides the products, and then LTD who provides mentorship and coaching and religion, basically. So if you are running Amway as a multi-level marketing business and you want to sell Amway products, you think the products are exceptional, you think that you can sell an exceptional amount of, products, and then you can get other exceptional salespeople to sell an exceptional amount of products, and you think that that is going to be a really great way to earn extra income, then fabulous. Do that. I would not personally require that people purchase a subscription to leadership team development and have to go to their religious kind of functions, or just even go to their seminars and all of the motivational stuff. If you're just going to sell the product, then I would just suggest doing Amway as it's built and selling Amway products. However, I think the majority of people in Amway LTD are attracted to the idea of building a business because there is some sort of savior complex that they instill, that they preach. They say that, we're going to build the kingdom of God and we're doing something that's going to rebuild America. And it's very MAGA vibes, but it's we're going to be fighting for free enterprise, and there's a lot of, like, they make it sound like you're being heroes for recruiting for Amway LTD. And I think a lot of that has to do with the principles that LTD stands for in terms of like America and also the religious principles of LTD. So in that case, if you're recruiting people to join Amway, but it's because you want them to benefit from the religious aspects of LTD, I would seriously ask you to reconsider the idea that you possibly are turning the temple of God into a marketplace. It's kind of similar to saying like, well, you know, yeah, we're all in the temple and yeah, we're all selling doves and we're doing, you know, more transactions and we're just like turning this into a marketplace where we can all get rich and stuff. But at least they're in the temple. Like that Jesus would not have let that fly. So it's kind of like, yeah, you have people joining LTD and maybe coming to like Christian conferences and stuff, but you're luring them in with a financial promise of being able to own their own business. And so it's kind of shady. On top of that, to talk about the fact that they have to pay for an LTD subscription and then they have to pay for a ditto order on Amway, and they have to pay all of this money. And if they don't pass the checkpoint, or if they don't pass the selection process, then they don't qualify to be a part of LTD. So if you think you're doing this as a ministry, yet you are making them pay dues in order to have access to the salvation you're preaching, that gets into some really shady religious territory when you think about the fact that Jesus has already paid the ransom for all of our sins, and he paid the price, and salvation is free to everybody. And so if you're trying to do a ministry where you have to fit this exact mold and want to own a business, and then you have to you know, pay all of these things and be able to go to all these conferences and all the meetings and stuff, otherwise you're not actually one of us, yikes. You might not pay for that on earth, but if you believe in an afterlife, you might have some surprises coming to you. So yeah, I really think that if you have intention of selling Amway products, then sell Amway products, and be very upfront about that and just have that be your business. But if you're in LTD thinking that you're gonna recruit people and like change their lives with this message of the gospel, but they have to go to your conferences and buy your products first, I don't care how good your intentions are, you're still doing wrong. That's my opinion. So next, my life will fall apart if I quit. That's the second worry that they have. And honestly, number one, if it does, that's some pretty like rocky foundation, or like it's a pretty weak foundation for your entire life to be built on this particular group. But my guess is that if your life were to quote unquote fall apart if you quit Amway, your life was already falling apart, and stepping away from Amway or LTD is just going to bring to light the damage that you've already been doing to your life. For instance, when I quit Amway, it was, you know, I was already in debt. So I already had a lot of credit card stuff, and my credit was shot because I had so many late payments or just missed payments because I did not handle my own money correctly. So when I quit Amway and I started addressing that, it's not that my finances fell apart when I left Amway, it's that I finally woke up and realized that I had been doing a lot of damage for 2.5 years while I was in Amway. Same as my relationships. If, you know, when I quit, I didn't have any friends to turn to outside of the business, except for one. And in the business, all of those relationships fell away. Now, we've already talked about the loss of community in my previous video. You should check that out if you haven't already. But beyond that, if by walking away from Amway Ltd, you have nobody left, it kind of is an indication that you've already damaged those relationships while being in Amway. And so just stepping out of Amway just points out the damage that has already been done, if that makes sense. So in a way, like, same as like your spiritual life, if your entire spiritual life falls apart like mine did when I stepped out of Amway Ltd, it kind of means that you've been building your spiritual life on this commercial cult for long enough that your whole life was built on a very shady, very unstable foundation. So I'm not saying that your life won't fall apart, or I'm not saying that your life won't suddenly feel like it has no foundation whatsoever. What I'm saying is, number one, if it does feel like that, it's because you really didn't have a very good foundation in the beginning, and to begin with. And that's not an unsolvable problem. And it's better to find out now than later on down the road. And number two, it's not because you didn't do right in Amway. It's because you've been doing that damage in your life through Amway. And so getting out of Amway would be the first step in actually setting your life on a more solid foundation. So yeah. We can talk so much more about that. So if you have more comments or more questions about that in particular, please drop that in the comments down below, because that in and of itself, that my life will fall apart if I quit multi-level marketing, it's basically like saying, you know, what things in my life will change when I leave a cult? Well, a lot. A lot. And rebuilding is not a simple, you know, step 1, 2, 3 kind of thing. Going down the line, my dreams won't come true without Amway. And this is what I have been stewing on for... I'll actually address the last two together. My dreams won't come true without Amway, and that going back to school or starting a real business despite my upline counsel is like going to cause problems. So this just really grinds my gears, okay? Because I think that is one of the most abusive and manipulative lies that your upline could be telling you, that you're not able to accomplish your dreams in life without Amway or without them. That is some manipulative stuff. I don't know like the psychological term for that, but if you just take yourself out of like multi-level marketing for a second and think about that in like a relationship aspect. If you had a significant other that every single day, every single time you met, they told you how you're not good enough on your own, you need them, they are your source of strength, they're your meal ticket. If it weren't for them, you would be nothing. If it weren't for them, you would have no chance in life. If it weren't for them, you would have no way of finding any other happiness, that they are the only person for you and you're not able to find any other fulfillment in any other relationship. Like, that would be sending off. And if they told you all of this, you know, straight up, you know, I know that there are plenty of people in relationships like that as well, but I think that if you can look at that objectively and think, wow, that's effed up, like, then you can see translating that over into Amway and into multi-level marketing as a whole. If your upline is telling you that this is the only way, this mentorship, your upline is your meal ticket, this business is the only way that you're going to accomplish financial success and have the life that you have always dreamed of, that's a big red flag for abuse. Okay, so that's like, I don't know, I could go off onto the weeds on that one, but I think I've made my point. Okay. So number two, and this is kind of where it goes off the rails. Okay. I'm just going to rant for a sec. If you were to drive through those neighborhoods that we drive through, looking at giant houses and thinking, one day I'm going to have that. Or if you drive past a car that you're like, one day I'm going to drive that. All right. The next time you do that, I mean, okay, be socially aware of pandemic and stuff, but next time you do that, I challenge you to get out of your car, walk up the long ass driveway to that big ass mansion, knock on the door, and if the owner answers the door, if it's not a gated community, if the owner answers the door, ask them how they got that house. I can almost guarantee you it is not by multi-level marketing. And I can say that the majority, way majority, I don't even have to look at statistics in order to tell you that the majority of people who have the dreams that you want, who have the house that you want, and the car that you want, and the lifestyle that you want even, the majority of people do not actually do multi-level marketing. And so if other people live like that without having done multi-level marketing, and they've used, whatever avenue that they use to get there, what makes you think that you can't do that? You know what I mean? Now, this goes off onto another rabbit trail of most people who live exceptional lives do so because they either come from an exceptional background or they have offered exceptional value to the world. I remember one time back in high school, I used to compete in speech and debate, and I stayed with a host family, and the host family had this like mansion, and like a mansion, most gigantic house I have ever seen in my life. And the guy who owned the house was one of the developers, like one of the scientists who developed Aleve. And so they helped create an exceptional product, and that had exceptional success, and they live an exceptional life. Now, that's normally how business works. What multi-level marketing does is they make a very few people very rich by telling a ton of people, an exceptional number of people, that even though they're average, they can live an exceptional life if they spend money on the products and the conferences and all of those things. So they make an exceptional life out of an exceptional lie. And they scam an exceptional amount of people. And that's why they're able to make an exceptional life. The only way that you can do multi-level marketing legitimately is by selling an exceptional amount of products, and then getting other exceptional salespeople to sell an exceptional amount of products. Hopefully your product is exceptional, but if not, then you just sell average products at an exceptional markup, and that's how you make an exceptional income. So if you want to be the exception to the rule, then that's how you make an exceptional life with multi-level marketing in a legitimate way. Now, if you want to do it the scammy, skeezy way, do it the way that your Amway upline has done it. Here's how. They use Amway, the products of Amway, as a front for their LTD subscription background business. What they market to you is you're going to be a business owner. You are going to have products, and you're going to have a downline that you can mentor, and you're going to be able to be a leader, and all of this stuff. The thing is that you're technically you are an Amway affiliated business owner. Your licensing or your business legitimacy comes from Amway. That's just the products. With LTD, you are a customer, and you are the customer of your upline. So you get your Amway upline, who is the vendor of the, your upline platinum and above. Anybody who's had who's on the LTD pay structure, which they're not open about. The most transparency you're going to get from LTD is that the success depicted in this audio may reflect income other than Amway, such as the sale of training materials, whatever, and other businesses and investments. That's all the transparency you're going to get from Amway. However, I have had it confirmed from multiple sources that yes, Amway LTD, diamonds, emeralds, sapphires, platinums even, they do make money off of tool sales, and at least half of their income is from tool sales, especially if you're like a diamond. So the lifestyle that they're selling you of being a business owner, they sell it to you as Amway. You have an Amway business, but actually only half of their income comes from Amway. The other half comes from you as their downline, being customers of theirs. So you can have an Amway business, but you are an LTD customer. So now you've got these people mentoring you they're the LTD vendors of Amway, of LTD mentorship. And they're telling you that they're the only people who can guide you to a successful life in Amway. And they're the only people who, and this is why in my videos, I point out all the times they draw this us versus them mentality, because it's part of the cult, but it's also part of their sales tactic of, if you leave, you're going to have a miserable marriage. If you leave, your kids are going to, grow up without parents because they'll be working outside the home, and your kids are going to resent you for the time that you lost with them. If you leave, you're not going to have real friendships because these are real friendships, and outside in the real world, friends stab you in the back and people are catty, and outside of the business environment, women are catty, and men will try to steal your wives and all of these different things. Outside of the business and outside of this environment, in the workplace, you're going to be hit on by bosses and sexually harassed, and you're going to be, overworked and underpaid and all of that. They draw this terrible picture of what life outside of LTD looks like, but they're selling you LTD. They are the LTD vendor. So of course they're going to say that, because they want you to continue to buy the subscriptions. They want you to continue to buy, conference tickets and books from them. And even as I was leaving, they said, we don't actually care about your PV, but you still have to stay with LTD. Like, you really need to stay in this environment. You have to stay in this group. It's part of the brainwashing, but it's also part of the fact that they make a good majority, or at least a good portion, like a comparable amount of money doing leadership team development and, selling tools as they do selling Amway products. But they don't tell you up front that that's where their income comes from. And that's what makes it very scammy and very shady. So what I'm telling you is that, number one, of course, they're going to tell you that your dreams can't come true any other way, because they're making money off of you. And you might think, they're not making that much money off of me with Amway. If I win, everybody wins. Yeah, but with LTD, they are making money while you are just paying money into subscriptions. And they are selling you some sort of mentorship, but if you really were to evaluate what kind of mentorship that is, like, for instance, if I had actually gotten up into like the platinum level, I wouldn't have been able to be the sole mentor of a couple, because I myself am not a part of a couple. And if I were to have gotten married, then all of a sudden I would have been qualified to mentor another couple, because I have a husband who, so And we could get into all of that, but we shouldn't. Not in this video. But that would qualify me. Just if I was paired with someone else and I was at a particular level in the Amway business structure, that would qualify me to mentor someone. So if you are looking to your LTD mentor as your guide for a healthy relationship or a healthy marriage and having healthy, relationships with your kids and, being good with your finances, but you've never actually seen their financial statements and you don't actually know what happens in their family because you're not able to hear the negative side from them because they're your upline and they're not allowed to talk negative to you. They're not allowed to talk about the realness of their lives. So they're only going to give you a positive view of their lives. So you think that you're getting mentored by people who have perfect lives and make a buku amount of money with Amway, but the reality is that they're not allowed to tell you anything negative about their lives because they don't want you to think that they don't have it all together and look for happiness elsewhere. So they're going to try to give you that picture perfect life, or that picture perfect perception of their life. And they're also not going to tell you that you can find happiness elsewhere or find fulfillment elsewhere because you are their meal ticket. But they will try to tell you that they are your meal ticket, if that makes sense. And beyond that, of course, they're not going to want you to go to school or start a business outside of Amway or multi-level marketing because they want all of your resources and all of your attention because they make money off of you. So if you see this for what it actually is, then you know that, of course, you're going to get pro Amway LTD advice from someone who makes money, half of their money from Amway and half of their money from LTD. That's why I personally, I'm a certified health and life coach, but I don't market myself as a life coach because I think most life coaches are quacks. Anybody could pretend that they have a perfect life, and anybody can dupe someone into thinking that they're smarter than they actually are, or that they have it all together more than they actually do, and then market themselves as successful, and then have enough people buy into that lie that they actually become financially successful. And then you're basically paying for someone to tell you how to live a successful life. But the way that they got successful was by telling people that they got successful. And then those people paid money, and now they actually have the money to back it up. If that makes sense. My thoughts are very scattered on this, and I'm baking in this car, but I'm trying to say that it's if you're gonna pay someone to give you life advice based off of the image that they can present to you, you're basically asking to get scammed. If you have to pay a $90 subscription to hear motivational talks that you can hear on YouTube for free, you're probably being scammed. If you have to pay $125 to go to a conference in order to go to their Sunday session where you can go to church and hear the gospel of Christ at that conference, where you could go down the street and go to church and hear the gospel for free, you're probably being scammed. So, I don't know what else to say about that. I will say that especially people in my generation, and I'm not trying to hate on millennials, it's just kind of if you've been told all your life that you're exceptional and that you're worthy of an exceptional life, but you don't actually learn how to add exceptional value, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be exceptionally disappointed. And don't take a shot every time I say exceptional in this video, but I'm trying to draw the picture of the fact that if you were to actually look at reality and think how much it actually takes to afford a mansion or to afford a, high priced car or whatever, and, get the the hot spouse and the 2.5 kids and the picket fence, and not have to work a day in your life after you build for 2.5 years a business asset where the rest of your time, and again, with LTD, they're the vendors, they're employees of LTD. So they're independent business owners of Amway, but they're employed by LTD. They still have to show up to the conferences. They still have to do a certain amount of things. They still have to show up to weekly meetings in order to get paid on the LTD pay scale. So they're still employed. And their work is round the clock. If your upline is up at 3 a.m. talking to you and giving you, mentorship, then your work is around the clock. And you're not actually able to authentically mentor someone and have them ask critical questions and have them critically think about their own lives. Like, should I go back to school? Should I start a business that's different than Amway? You're not actually able to authentically coach them into making genuinely good decisions for their lives, because you have to stay on brand. You have to stay keeping them paying money for your mentorship, because as soon as they drop out of LTD, well then, you just lost your pay from that person. So, and because Amway LTD will tell you that they see people as individual souls, but then they'll treat you like a paycheck. It's just, the pieces start coming together and you start realizing that, this is an industry just like everything else. It's not actually a ministry. If you want to do ministry, do it for free. Because then you'll get treasures in heaven. But beyond that, let's just be real. Go back to school, learn an exceptional trade, be exceptional at what you do average things exceptionally. Have a good work ethic. Even Joe Markowitz in one of his recent audios said that you have to do 10,000 hours to become a master at something. So even in Amway LTD, even though they market it as low work, you still are going to have to work your ass off regardless. So you may as well do it in something that you have some pride and integrity in. And, if that means becoming a salesperson and becoming an exceptional salesperson, then do that. But enough with this. Don't buy into their bullshit just because, they're getting paid to tell you that they're the only way that you're going to be successful. I feel like that's so abusive, and I hope that after this video, this kind of causes you to reflect on these questions and really ask, what are my intentions? Are my intentions to sell? Because I can do that exceptionally elsewhere and sell better products, rather than just average products at an exceptional markup. Or if my intentions are to, reach people for the kingdom of God, or, mentor people, then maybe I need to do that in a less shady way. Your life won't fall apart. Your life will simply be an accurate reflection of how you've been building your life recently. So if Amway has done some destructive things in your life, when you quit Amway, you'll finally see what you've been doing, and you'll be able to stop that trend and turn your life around and be better for it. And if you want your dreams to come true, you're going to have to put an exceptional amount of effort into it. You're going to have to take the right course of action, and you're going to have to listen to people who actually have your best interest at heart, rather than, making a paycheck off of getting you to continue to buy the same product that they are selling, because they are vendors, they are employees of this thing called LTD. So anyway, sorry for the rambling. I love you guys so much. I hope that this was helpful. Please let me know if you have any more questions, comment below, or message me on Instagram, because I love to hear from you always. So anyway, I hope you have a great day, and I love you. Okay. Bye.